All right, we're going to look at Chapter 17, Practice A and B. So we'll start with A1. Now, when you're doing these problems, remember, you always want to write your given and find. Because especially with Practice A, that we have more than one equation, and this will help us to figure out which equation to use. So it says a particle moves 10 meters. So when you're reading the problem, let's say you're not sure what something is. A foolproof way to figure out what something is in the given is you look at the unit. Okay, so this was meter, so that helps me to identify that that's D. So a particle moves 10 meters along an electric field of strength. So now they're telling me the strength of the electric field, so that's E. But if I wasn't sure, it says Newton per Coulomb, and Newton per Coulomb is the unit for electric field strength. Its electric potential energy decreases. So because this electric potential energy is decreasing, it's going to be negative 4.8 times 10 to the negative 16 joules. Okay. So then it says, what is the particle's charge? So now I want to find Q. So again, my variables are here and here. So I have D, I have E, I have PE, and I have Q. I want to find Q, so now I'm going to say to myself, which equation has those four variables? So that's the equation that delta PE is equal to negative QED. Now I want to solve for Q, so I'm going to rearrange the equation to solve for the unknown in terms of the known. So if I want Q by itself, I'll move this on the other side. So Q is equal to negative delta PE, because I want the Q to be positive, over ED. So now when I substitute in, I have negative 4.8 times 10 to the negative 16. So I see that my negative times a negative is a positive, divided by E, which is 75 newtons per coulomb, times 10 meters. Now this is supposed to come out to be a coulomb. So you could write, again, if you want, you could carry the units through and cancel them to check your work. Now when I do this on my calculator, I can do 75 times 10 in my head. So when I press the buttons, so let's look at pressing the buttons correctly. I'm going to do, so the negative times a negative to positive, but I won't do that. So I'm going to do 4.8 EE negative 16. So you see the 4.8, and then the smaller, the negative 16 smaller, because that means times 10 to the negative 16. Divided by 750 equals, and now it says 6.4 times 10 to the negative 19 coulombs. Now if I wanted to cancel my units, remember a joule is what? A newton times a meter. So this newton would cancel with that one, this would cancel with that, and then I would get 1 over a coulomb, which is a coulomb. So my units work out. So you can always carry your units through and cancel them, because it's a foolproof way to always check your work. So again, we want to write our given and find so we know which equation to use for practice A. All right, now we're going to look at B1. Okay, B1, it says a 4 microfarad capacitor. So again, I want to write my given. I want to write my find. I'm going to push this up now. So so that's capacitance is 4 microfarads. Now, before I even go on, this is a prefix. So number one, are we going to be responsible for knowing that prefix on the test? Yes. So what I would do is I would rewrite this and say 4 And now micro means 10 to the negative 6 farad. So this way, when I'm doing my calculations, I'm not going to forget to put that in there. So I'll do it right away in my given. It says a 12-volt battery. So the voltage is equal to 12 volts. So now to find for part A, it says, what is the charge on each plate? So because I'm doing the plate is an area, it's going to be big Q. So now I'm going to say to myself, well, which equation has Q, C, and V? Well, that's an easy one. Q is equal to CV. So it's 4 times 10 to the negative 6 times 12. This is a farad. And then I'm going to get Q. So if I do it on my calculator, I'm going to say 4EE minus 6. So you see how it says 4 times 10 to the negative 6 times 12 equals. Now, it's not in scientific notation. There's a bunch of zeros. So if I want it in scientific, remember behind the number 5 button, it says SCI. So I'm going to press second and then that, and it's going to automatically put that in scientific notation for me. So it's going to say 4.8 times 10 to the negative 5. It does it for me. Now there's a part B to this. Part B says if the same capacitor is connected to a 1.5 volt battery, so now it's telling me that V is equal to 1.5 volts. They want me to find the electric potential energy. So I want to find PE electric. So PE electric is 1/2 CV squared. So it's going to be 1/2 of C, which is 4 times 10 to the negative 6, times now 1.5 volts squared. So if I do this on my calculator, I can just, again, I can say 1.5 squared times 4EE minus 6 equals, divided by 2 equals, and then I'll press second psi, and it says, so this is equal to 4.5 times 10 to the negative 6 joules. And that's it. Okay.